In the beginning, Eru Iluvatar, an all-powerful god, embarked upon a campaign of creation, forming an area of empty space called the Timeless Void. Within this void, he made the Timeless Halls as a celestial home to the Ainur, primordial spirits of independent thought with varying levels of power. When Eru attempted to lead the Ainur in singing the Ainulindale, a great theme of music, Melkor, greatest of the Ainur, went against the harmony to sing aggressive, loud, and repetitive notes, engaging in a war of sound that brought other Ainur into his rebellion until the creator ended the music and showed them a visual representation of what they made. This vision of Arda depicted an incredible world with lands and seas, populated by creatures experiencing joy and triumph, but also cruelty and suffering, infused by the music of Melkor. Fascinated, the Ainur asked for the vision to be made real, and so Eru agreed on the condition those who entered could not return until the universe reached its natural conclusion. As a result, some Ainur remained in the Timeless Halls, while others descended into the universe Ea and onto the building blocks of the world Arda. Understanding that it was their task to bring about what they saw in the vision, the 14 most powerful Ainur, called Valar, became the shapers and overseers of Arda, primarily seeking to prepare the world as a home for the Elves, dwarves, and humans, also known as the Children of Eru, creatures of independent thought who would one day populate the world. Aiding the Valar in their mission were most of the less powerful but far more numerous Maiar, though some chose to explore the world in their own way, while others still joined Melkor, who was not considered one of the Valar as he claimed kingship over all Arda, wreaking havoc upon any who would not submit. When the other Valar stood united in their opposition, Melkor realized ruling this world was no longer possible, and so instead sought to destroy all of creation, causing so much damage the lands of Arda changed form several times. Throughout the Valiant years, the Valar originally created a great symmetrical landmass surrounded by ocean upon a flat world, but the First War of Melkor marred their work, leaving a single continent surrounded by Ekaya, a great outer sea, and beyond that Vaya, an ocean of dark waters at the very edges of the world, where ships could not sail. Though the Valar made their home in Almarin, an island within a central Great Lake, they brought prosperity to the entire continent throughout the Spring of Arda, illuminating the world and beginning the Years of the Lamps by creating 2 great lamps, placing the silver-blue light of Iluin in the north, while the golden light of Ormal went south. After recovering from the last war, Melkor built the fortress of Autumno in the north and invaded the south, destroying the 2 lamps in a great conflict that once again broke the world. What remained were now 3 distinct continents surrounded by several oceans, until the Valar made their home in western Aman, with the realm of Valinor becoming an enchanted paradise for the immortal races, also called the Undying Lands. As the lamps were gone, the Valar made 2 great trees, Silver Telperion and Golden Laudalin, to illuminate Valinor. Early on throughout the Years of the Trees, the lands of Arda were once again surrounded by the Outer Sea, with the western continent of Aman almost entirely removed from Middle-earth by the ocean Belegaer, while on the other side of Middle-earth, the East Sea separated the Eastland continent. Taking a closer look at Aman, the realm of Valinor was found on the western side of the Pelori, the tallest mountains in the world. To the south were the desolate shadow-covered lands of Avathar, while in the north were the frozen lands of Araman, another largely forgotten region. Beyond the Pelori Mountains to the east, the Enchanted Isles were a series of islands in the Sea of Belegaer that surrounded the main harbors and entry into Valinor. While continuing on to Middle-earth, Melkor made his home in the fortress of Autumno within the Iron Mountains near the northern coast. Planning to make all of Middle-earth his domain, the Dark Lord's chief lieutenant Sauron was placed in command of Angband to warn of attacks from Valinor. Moving south of the Iron Mountains, while remaining in the Northland, there were the Blue Mountains to the west, the Red Mountains in the east, and the Sea of Helkar to the south between them, a great lake created by the destruction of the lamp Iluin. Within the Midlands, there was the Mountains of the Wind, while the Southland had the Red Mountains in the west, the Yellow Mountains in the east, and the Sea of Ringol in the north between them, a great lake created from the destruction of the lamp Ormal. Though little is known about the continent of Eastland, it was home to a great mountain wall, much of which bordered the western coast. Waking in the year 1050 YT, along the eastern shore of the Sea of Helkar, the Elves of Cuiviénen were the first and eldest children of Eru, granted the gift of immortality, tying their fate to the world of Arda, making it their eternal home. Although the light of the 2 trees could not reach them, the Valar placed stars in the sky to provide light for the rest of the world. Learning the first children awoke, Melkor started capturing wayward elves, with some stories claiming he twisted and corrupted his captives to become and breed the Orcs, a violent slave race to faithfully follow his commands. Once informed of Melkor's actions, the Valar were outraged and gathered their armies to travel east, engaging the Dark Lord in the war for sake of the Elves, defeating and capturing the enemy. Yet this victory came at a heavy cost, which saw the lands and seas of Arda once again change form, leaving the continents of Aman in the west, Middle-earth, Darkland in the south, and Eastland. After the defeat and imprisonment of Melkor, the Elves were invited to live in Valinor, causing a fracture where the Avari remained in the east, while the Eldar went west, with some abandoning the journey to settle other regions of Middle-earth, while most others continued on to the Undying Lands. In order to make the journey across the Sea of Belegaer, the Vala Ulmo used an entire island as a ferry to transport the Elves, after which he anchored it to the eastern coast of Aman with the name Tol Eressëa. Other notable locations within Aman included the Halls of Nienna, where the Vala Nienna spent much of her time gazing into the waters of the west, the Halls of the Valamandos, where spirits traveled after death to be judged and sent on to their ultimate destiny, the Gardens of the Vala Lorien, and tree-shadowed Lake Lorelin, with a small island at its center where the Vala Este slept during the day. Then there was the city Valmar, home to many Valar and Maiar, Ezelohar, the hill where the two trees were planted, the city Tirion, home to many Vanyar and Noldor elves, Ilmarin, the mansions of Manwë and Varda, king and queen of the Valar, located atop Taniquetil, the tallest mountain in the world. Along the eastern coast, there was the Calaquiria, or Cleft of Light, which was the sole passage through the Pelori Mountains into Valinor, and the city Alqualonde, which along with Tol Eressëa was home to Teleri elf shipbuilders. This region, consisting of Calaquiria, Tirion, Alqualonde, and Tol Eressëa, was collectively called Eldamar, as it was home to most of the elves in Aman. Further north, there was the fortress Formenos, built as a home for the family of Feanor, eldest son and heir to High King Finwë of the Noldor Elves. Further south, there were the plains of the Vala Yavanna, the forest of the Vala Orome, as well as the secret lair of the Ungoliant, mother to the great spiders, found in the desolate lands of Avathar, southeast of the Pelori Mountains. After several ages in captivity, the Dark Lord Melkor feigned repentance and was released by his brother Manwë, only to once again launch a surprise attack, this time with the aid of his ally the Ungoliant, and together destroyed the two trees, killed High King Finwë, and stole the Silmaril jewels of Feanor before escaping through Araman in the north, to then pass through the great mists of Oyamure and travel across the icy wastes of Helcaraxe, the sole land bridge connecting Aman to Middle-earth, where the Ungoliant fled south, while Melkor made his home in the fortress of Angband in the western Iron Mountains, which stretched across the entire continent into the far east. Taking a wider view of Middle-earth, there was Dor Daidalos, the lands of Melkor around and beyond Angband, the northwestern region of Beleriand, bordered by the Blue Mountains, beyond which were the ruins of Atumno, the Misty Mountains, the White Mountains, the Greenwood Forest, the region of Palisor, which included the Sea of Helkar, Eastern Lands, and Cuivianen. Then there were the Red Mountains, the Great Gulf along the western coast, the Straits of the World, and Grey Mountains to the south. Moving across the East Sea, there was the Darkland continent, where the Yellow Mountains were found, while Eastland remained home to a great mountain wall, including Calorme, the second highest peak in the world. Returning to Middle-earth, the continent held diverse populations, including the three child races of the creator Eru, with the Elves having already awoken in Cuivianen, while the Dwarves, who were adopted children with a unique origin and fate, awoke sometime later, seeing the Iron Fist, Stiffbeard, Blacklock, and Stonefoot clans likely make their home in the Red Mountains, while the Firebeards and Broadbeams settled in the Blue Mountains, and the Longbeards in the Misty Mountains. When the race of men, granted the gift of mortality and a second destiny after death, awoke in the lands of Hildorian, it coincided with the rising of the sun and moon, created by the Valar after the destruction of the two trees, meant to bring light to the entire world, thus beginning the first stage of Middle-earth. A special thanks to all those who contribute to CivilizationEx, like Thilbo the Farseer, Sir Loin, Werebear of the Great North, Sir Willem the Dawn-Treader, and Thomas the Kinslayer. If you'd like to help the channel, be sure to give a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and click on the links below, or else go to patreon.com/CivilizationEx, where you can gain early access to videos, vote on future content, and watch the Patreon-only series, Heroes of Lore and Legend.